the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. All our friends and family are here.
We've had so many visitors to the show office this week, more than we had in the last several years for sure. And people are really excited about the show this year. A lot of people coming for the first time, coming from far away. We have people from Australia, Japan, England. One woman who came in this morning to check in as a volunteer said, "I came all the way to England to volunteer for this show." I've been involved with the show for about 11 years now, starting as a volunteer and now executive director, and it's been quite an interesting journey. I've had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of new things associated with the show, the growth in the activities around the show. One of the things we're doing this year that's brand new is called Save It for Sunday. It's actually extending the activities of the show to an extra day. We're not rehanging the entire 1300 quilt show, but we're holding over some special exhibits so people can save some things to see the day after. People are excited about having more to do in Sisters. They're excited about being able to come back on Sunday because they can't see everything on Saturday. So we're really looking forward to that. And what's really fun is being able to offer something new on Sunday for people to do. So having a lecture series and quilts on display in another part of town is something that people are really looking forward to. I'm not sure why people are coming out in droves this year, but I think some of it may have to do with people are feeling better about the economy. I also think that there's a big resurgence in the sort of do-it-yourself mode. People are planting their own gardens, they're raising their own chickens. It's the, I want to make it myself, I want to do it by hand. And that significantly impacts the quilting and craft industry, I think. And so I think there's a great deal of interest in the whole field of quilting and hand-done and handmade things. And so I think that's a large part of it as well. I think I have the best darn job in Sisters. I love what I do because it makes so many people so happy.
The Quilted Forest Challenge was to make quilt art pieces that resembled trees, and we wanted to hang them in a way that looked like trees, as if you were walking through a forest of quilts. Originally the quilts hung at the Oregon State Fair last year, and then they were hung at the Oregon Garden Quilt Show, and their final appearance is here at the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. I'm one of the contributing artists, and I'm the kind of the curator of the Quilted Forest Challenge quilts. I work for Greenbaum's Quilted Forest, who had sponsored the original challenge that we issued to quilt artists, and I've been curating it ever since. The public reaction to the Quilted Forest has been really tremendous. People are very excited that they're two-sided. You can walk all the way around them just like you would a tree in a forest. Quite a few of them are very interpretive. There's one with a woman on it, and they're just very exciting that they're a different shape and size than most quilts that people come to a quilt show to see.
But it's the quilts that show the beauty. We're proud for the town and the things we do.
My role in the quilt show this year, I was given the honor to design the raffle quilt, and part of the proceeds go to Kiwanis and the quilt show. Since I was given the honor to design the raffle quilt, I broke it a traditional Lone Star apart to give it a contemporary look. So the points look like they're curling in on themselves, and gave it a warm and cold look. I wanted something where the color pops off the quilt, and white background with beautiful quilting by Betty Ann Guadalupe from Prineville. It looks like a flower's opening up in the morning to the sunlight. 10 years ago, I did a transition from Eugene over to Sisters, and I was a warehouse manager over there, and my mom convinced me that men do quilt. I was one of those guys that didn't think guys would quilt, and I was wrong. I designed a very beautiful quilt that year called Lady of the Woods, and 10 years later, here I am. I've turned it into a career, and this year it's just been a great year for the quilting world.
20 years ago when I came here, I saw quilts hanging at the quilt show, and I thought, what a cool thing, and they're so graphic and colorful, and I wanted to paint them. Next thing you know, I was making up my own. And next thing you know, I was like printing them on t-shirts and mugs and stuff and selling them to people. And we used to have lots of big posters like this, and they bought them all and filled up their walls, so now I'm making little tiny ones so they can squeeze them into their bathroom and stuff like that. I'm working on a book that I hope is published next year. It's the story of a girl in the 1880s that travels west with her horse and her quilt, and she loses her quilt along the way, and she goes through many adventures trying to find it, and eventually she does, and it's a happy ending. But yeah, it's led to a lot of other stuff. Who would have thunk it?
Okay, so this is the 36th year for the quilt show. Part of the competition, you have to include some quilt type theme, and you always have to include the iconic Three Sisters Mountains. So I divided the panel into 36 squares subtly with patterning. So there's 36 squares. Of course, we got the mountains, and then the theme is Nature Symphony. So I added all these little orchestral members, so the bluebirds and the frogs and the crickets and the pikas, and of course the turtle for percussion as he jumps in the water. So that's the story.
Water, $1. Ice cold water, $1.
I've been involved with Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show since 1978. I've worked for Jean on and off since I was in high school. And if you work for her, you're always involved with Quilt Show. Once in, always in. For the last 14 years, I've been running the Quilters Affair, which is a week-long group of classes out at the high school. This year, I didn't do that job, and I was a teacher. But for the Quilt Show, which is Saturday, usually the second Saturday of July, I work in the store or outside, and I just answer questions, sell merchandise, whatever everybody wants me to do, I do it. The Quilt Show in the last 36 years that it's been happening has been a big part of my life. It's a big part of pretty much anybody who lives in Sisters. For a whole week, we just do everything we can for the community, bring people together. Your whole entire summer revolves around the Outdoor Quilt Show. I'm a quilter. I've been quilting for, 30 plus years. I have a couple of quilts in the quilt show this year that if they're down at the teacher's tent. I like traditional quilting, and that's what the classes I've been teaching is traditional quilting. And I do some contemporary, but not as much as everybody else does in the store. I do postcards. I like to help out with the kids in the schools, in the middle school, high school. I've done some grade school work, trying to get kids involved in any kind of sewing. If they go into quilting, that's great, but just getting them involved in sewing is what I like to do. One of the most interesting things about Quilt Show is you get to meet people from all over the world, literally all over the world. We have a couple of ladies who've been coming from Scotland and England for maybe a dozen years now, and they take classes and they enjoy the Quilt Show. It's just bringing people together through the whole entire world, because everybody quilts in every country. It doesn't seem to matter what their quilting is, they all do some form of it. We get quilts from all over the world. It's international. It's wonderful.
Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. It's me and everybody here in our lives.